And yes, the Olympic Games were games invented by my Greek ancestors. The first games were in 776 BC. That's 2,800 years ago. That's how old these games are. And one of the key tenements of the ancient games was called the ekekria, which means the peace, the Olympic peace. Literally, ekekria means laying down of your arms, laying down of your weapons. This is the time when shield and spear were the weapons. And you laid that down during the Olympic times to allow people to walk to the games from wherever they came from whatever Greek colony, from Spain to Crimea. There were Greek colonies all around the Mediterranean, all around the Aegean Sea. These people had to come from hundreds of miles away to come to Olympia in Greece, to come to these games. Russia, of course, has violated the Olympic peace, because the Olympic peace isn't just during the games. It is before the games, so people can travel, and after the games, so people can get back home. 2008, Russia violated after the Beijing Olympics by starting a war in Georgia. Georgia in the Caucasus, not the state of Georgia, the one that exists by Armenia, the one that exists by Azerbaijan. They invaded that country right after the Beijing Olympics in 2008. 2014, people might forget this, Russia held the Olympics in Sochi. 2014, they held the Olympic Games. They were supposedly honoring this peace, honoring what the games stand for: unity, celebration, sportsmanship. And a couple days after they held the Olympic Games in Sochi, what happened? They took the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine, from another country, after just holding these games, which are about global unity. They took a piece of land from another country, from another group of people who just participated in the Olympics. That is violating the Olympic Truce. That is violating the Olympic peace. That's what Russia did. 2022, another series of games in Beijing, the Winter Olympics. A couple days after that, Russia begins this full-scale war, which as of next week, 2 weeks, is going to be 4 years. 4 years of war for Ukraine. 4 years of war for the children of Ukraine, for the families of the soldiers. That is violating the Olympic peace. This is why Russia is banned from the Olympics. There's no other country on the planet which is banned that way, because no other country has invaded people right after the Olympic Games were held, or before the Olympic Games were held, as Russia has done 3 times. 3 times in the past 20 years. They have invaded another country when there's supposed to be peace, when there's supposed to be this idea of global unity, global sportsmanship. How can you negotiate with someone like that, who doesn't respect peace, that doesn't respect ancient traditions? So the Russians don't. They don't care about ancient traditions. They don't have any of their own. They steal traditions, they lie. They do blood doping for their Olympic athletes to make them perform better, so they can steal medals that they don't earn. Russia wants to fight without earning things. So right now, unfortunately, the Trump administration is trying to make Ukraine make concessions for peace. And Russia, in this process of peace, is saying, hey, we want to take the land that we haven't earned. We want Ukraine to give up your best fortifications, your best defense lines, the things we haven't taken, the things we're losing hundreds and thousands of soldiers every single day trying to take. The Russians are saying, hey, we want to cheat. We want to cheat in this war and take land that we haven't taken yet. And unfortunately, our country right now is on the side of Russia saying, yeah, why don't you give up the territory Russia hasn't taken yet? Yeah, Boo is right. That's not something that the Olympic Games are about. That's not something that the United Nations were established for. And that's not what war is. In a war, you don't get land that you didn't take. So that's what Russia's doing. They're cheating in the Olympics. They're cheating at war. They're cheating at history. They're the masters of propaganda. We all know that. We all have seen countless movies from the 1970s, 1980s, where the Soviets, the Russians are the bad guys. Russian propaganda That's all what James Bond, that's what those movies are about. It's about fighting Russian propaganda. The Russians want to cheat, steal, because that is the only way that they think they can win, is by doing it with dishonesty, by not doing what the international order has established. For the past 80 years, we established peace. Russia broke that in 2008 when they invaded Georgia. 2014 when they invaded Crimea, 22 when they invaded all of Ukraine. They don't care about the Olympic peace. They don't care about the world order. They don't care about anything besides themselves. All the Russians care about is Ruski Mir, the Russian world. And we're all just living in their world. Is that how we're going to respond to them? Just saying, okay, Russia, you can do whatever you want. You can cheat, you can lie, you can steal. You can change the rules of war in whatever way you want. I don't think so. I don't think anyone here believes that. I know we all just want to live our lives, have fun, but in Ukraine, that's not an option. People are still freezing, still cold, still winter, and their electrical grid is still being attacked by the Russians. We're lucky for what we have. We're lucky for the nice weather we have. We're lucky that our families are safe. It's always important to remember that. There's always people in the world who have much worse conditions than we have. So please, if you care about Ukraine, if you care about any issue that's important to you, what ICE is doing to American citizens, what ICE is doing to people they call illegal immigrants, that's not what this country is supposed to do. We care about our people. We respect our people. The Statue of Liberty says, give us, you're poor, you're tired, you're hungry, yearning to break free. That is what America is supposed to be. That is what the Olympics are supposed to be for. So please, whatever issue you care about, if it's Ukraine, please act on Ukraine. Call your Congress people. If there's any issue you care about, do something. Now is the time to voice your opinion. Make an action, do something, make a call, send an email to your representative. It's really that simple. All you have to do, say, hey, I'm this person from this district, here's my address, this is the issue that's important to me. What we're advocating for is obviously Ukraine. So please, if you care about Ukraine, the bill is called Peace Through Strength. And it's in Congress right now. We are just waiting for enough Congress people to get on so that a discharge petition can be signed, so that it can go to the bill, to the floor of the House, and it can be made into a bill. So please, 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 we always say, do whatever you can. Do what you can. Let your voice be heard.